Welcome to Azzy's Guide. But today we're not really doing a guide. We're actually going to cover some news from ArenaNet about the launch date for Guild Wars 2, which most of you should probably know by now. We're also going to cover some of the mistakes and corrections or erratas for some of our previous guides. It's not a lot of information. It's just a little bit here and there. And I'm going to cover some commentary about what the release date actually means for Guild Wars 2 players like, guilds and individual players or whatnot. So sit back, relax. It's not going to be the most informative guide. And just wanted to point out this video really quick. This was actually during beta weekend 2. Yak's Bend was invading us. We're invading their territory. We're at their Ascension Bay. They had decided to break through our northern wall to like the left or the north, and they got in and they ended up attacking our southern gate for some reason. So they breached the wall, they came in, and instead of attacking the keep, they run straight south and are assaulting the southern wall. And I'm just hearing this mortar bombarding them. And there we go, there's a nice shot. So it's kind of hilarious to watch this video. And this is a shout out from my friend Hisarian on the Guild Wars 2 Guru forums, because he recalled this fight and it was just one of the most spectacular funny mistakes that was made by Yak Spend. But anybody can make this mistake. We actually on Jade Quarry made the same mistake when we ran to Garrison, and so this is just something to look out for. So I know a lot of people joke and tease the Zerg, but this is a total mindless Zerg moment where players just rush to their closest target. In this case, they rush from one gate directly to the next gate, and we're just bombarding them. And you can also see some of the weather effects because they had captured the Quaggan weather temple. We're getting zapped by lightning and we're being frozen. Like the archer next to me just got zapped by lightning, and so it's kind of a neat dynamic with all the weather going on in this game. So a lot of fun. And without further ado though, let me get into some of the erratas. Well, welcome to the errata portion for Azzy's Guides. As you know, over the past however many weeks or month or so, I've made several mistakes when making my videos. Probably the biggest one is in the areas of naming things wrong. For instance, I actually just did another video and corrected it, but I'm filming this clip over again. Apologies. Really big. I kept calling this area Colvin's Gulch because I have a friend named Colvin, and so I kept calling it Colvin's Gulch, but it's actually Clovin's Gulch. My mistake and my error. Also over here, it's Alden's Ledge. I kept calling it Aldora's Ledge because, like if you look at this actual image, all these things are being blocked, and I hardly actually ran into that area, so it's like it's blocked off. I can't fully read it. It's actually Alden's Ledge, not Aldora's Ledge, and I was just making up names, and I apologize for that. Another big one is the Doliacs. I keep pronouncing these wrong, so I would call these things the Doliacs because they're spelled D-O-L Yaks, but with the D-O-L-Y, I'd call them Doliacs instead of Doliacs. And again, my error for that. Another one was the whole broken shields versus broken hearts. In the beginner zones, not the beginner zones, in the spawn zones, there are these armor repairers, and they're actually at broken shields, not broken hearts. But I kept calling them broken hearts. I was probably watching some lovey-dovey romance flick or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a broken heart. But these people are broken hearted, or watching Korean drama or something, and people are dying in there, and the hearts are getting torn apart, and because the people they're supposed to fall in love with someone else. And so I just kept thinking broken hearts when in fact they were broken shields. So my mistake on that. I've also probably made a lot of errors in terms of talking about north versus south, east versus west, and calling the places by the wrong names or something when I'm doing my commentary and stuff. So I really apologize for a lot of those things. I will try my best to clean up my videos and make them better, but I don't really have a lot of time to make professional quality videos and stuff like some other guilds or casters and stuff. I've just learned this entire hobby of making videos probably within like the last since May, 2 months now, and so I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. So thank you guys for putting up with me. Please send in any corrections if I continue to make more and more mistakes. and give me feedback because I really look forward to constructive feedback that I could do to improve my overall videos for you guys. So thank you guys very much. Very exciting news this week as ArenaNet announced the launch date for Guild Wars 2. If you didn't know, which means you probably were like hiding under a rock or something, Tuesday, August 28th is the official launch date for Guild Wars 2, which means the pre-purchase early access will start on Saturday, August 25th, which is also very exciting because we get it a few days earlier. Hopefully we get to lock in our names. There's a lot of questions as how like will servers lock out? Will they cap out if they reach, full population or whatever? And these are exciting questions that we will find out hopefully in the next few weeks as ArenaNet announces more and more information and we hit the next beta, which is July 20th to 22nd. And very exciting stuff. And it means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And I'll go into that in a little bit. But if you didn't get a chance, please check out the Guild Wars 2 Get Ready video. They have the leaping Asura, which I think is just the most hilarious scene from this entire video. Yeah, but basically, this is the info for those of you guys who don't know. So concerning the announcement of the game release, this has several guilds, or many guilds, in fact, and players concerned. The biggest concern is probably server selection for our World v World, and the reason why is we want to be able to get our entire guild of players and or alliance onto the same server. But during the beta weekends, we ran into problems where if a server reached cap, or like full capacity or whatever, players were not able to get in immediately. A lot of times, like for us, our first server was Sorrow's Furnace. That got filled up really quick, so we went to Jade Quarry, and so like my guild leader and I actually had to transfer into Jade Quarry and get in there. But by beta weekend 2, that became really full and crowded. So our players, actually a few of us went into like Safala, I think, and then from there they transferred back into Jade Quarry. But our concern is what happens if they do like a solid dead cap, like once X amount of players are reached for a server, we're not going to allow any new players in on that server. So those are just some concerns that we had as like guilds and players that are really concerned about World v World, because you're locked into one home world server. Of course, you get guest and PvE and SPVP and with other servers, but when it comes to World v World, we're locked into our home server. And of course, we want to be with our guildies and our buddies. Another concern was, should we move from a high pop server? Like right now, Jade Core is really popular because we talk about it in Guru, and there's a lot of guilds on there already, and people start to kind of bandwagon in. That's fine. We love these people. They're great. They add to the community, but at the same time, we want to make sure when the game starts, we can all jump on the same server without worrying about that population cap thing, right? Because if it reaches max capacity like really quick, we're stuck, or our players are stuck, and then we have to either pick a new server or players have to wait it out. Some players, like they might be, hey, my cannon just broke. Like what the hell? Like did you see that? My cannon just disappeared. Yeah, I didn't no idea what happened there. But anyways, sorry. Back to the topic. So that's a concern. Another one is like maybe if we jump to one of these newer lower pop servers, we could get all our players on there. But then the concern is, what if it's too low pop? The population's too low and the server dies within like a month or two. And so those are always concerns where we're just juggling between, should we stay on a popular high population server or a new server with like low or no pop, or that's just been announced, and try to bring our friends or guilds or alliance over. So just some concerns we've had. One other thing is like server communities. That's going to start to pop up really soon. We had really good examples of this in like Warhammer Online and Dark Ages of Camelot. So we're hoping ArenaNet will maybe provide server forums, please. If not, individual players or guilds or alliances will start slowly forming up these communities, which will be kind of cool. So I really look forward to see how things will turn out in the next several months after release. So anyways, thanks for watching all my stuff. I know it's not always the best. And any suggestions or whatever are totally appreciated. And I'll probably be making some different videos of a different nature, hopefully soon. Has nothing to do with Guild Wars 2, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, thank you guys. Catch you guys later. Have fun and see you in beta.